All right. Sorry about that rough start, everyone. Hopefully the rest of the stream goes okay. Yeah, I was working on updating all my computers to 11, and I figured it'd be fine. I got tired of it nagging me, so I caved, and here we are. Hopefully this stream goes smoothly. Um, oh man. Okay. Are we streaming good? You guys got a nice smooth feed going here? I'm just curious. Let me know what you guys think here. I'm curious to say my audio levels look good. The streaming like variables look good. Oh, it's doing this weird thing with Display Fusion where it's putting my windows behind the taskbar. Yeah, that was annoying. I'm gonna have to update Display Fusion or something. Hi. Hi, Comet. Can I help you? What? Are we being needy? Hi. Yes, we are streaming. Okay, this is not doggo petting time. I'm sorry, sir. No. Somebody's a little needy today. Can you guys tell? Um. Anyways, so need to update the video drivers now. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, maybe that's why. I'm not actually sure. We'll see. Anyways, I was hoping to show you guys like what doing a PID tune would do, but it looks like my PID tune did not go as planned on my Ender 3 S1. Did it actually successfully complete it? I need to double check here. I don't know if it did. But I guess we can do this on, I guess we can do this live. So what is it? You know, F it, we'll do it live. All right, let's see. Well, look at my screen share still works. All right, so you can see here, so I just updated the firmware on my Ender 3 S1. And I'm trying to do some printing here, and you see it's just bouncing around. You guys see this here? It's just, it should be very nice. It should be very tight in terms of the temperature regulation, but it's not. So what we can do is we can do a PID tune. So what we want to do is actually set the PID values, and we don't know what those are. We got to figure out what they are. So we're going to open this stream up with some PID tuning stuff. So this is the Marlin G-code page. M301 is the PID command. We also have a guide on how to do it. So let's go to our support center. And we're going to do Hotend PID. And we have our calibration guide. Now you can run PID on your bed or your hot end. I typically only run it on my hot ends. So for an example here, we have the M303E0 S255 C10U. So that'll do 10 cycles at 225. Now, what I like to do when I'm tuning my hot end is I will go ahead and turn the fan on. So we're going to go ahead and move this up. This printer with the default Marlin PID values is not that great. So I'm going to turn the fan on full blast. And then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to tune this at like 240 because I do run higher temp materials on here. Not ABS, but PETGs. So we're going to go ahead and send this. And it's going to start the auto tune. So what you're going to see here is you'll notice this little at 0 went to 127. So that's full blast. That's the hot end MOSFET. And you can see B at, which is the bed. That one's just idle. So we're going to go ahead and let this tune, and hopefully what we're going to see is a nice flat line. Now it does sometimes take a couple of cycles to get a good PID value, or you know, whether it's or a couple cycles of running it. So it's going to run 10 cycles on the command itself, and it's going to try to figure out what the PID value is. So I found the best way to tune it is when you have your hot end fan on, your layer fan, so it can compensate for that. And then we're going to run this up. So it's going to run the hot end up to 240C, and then it's going to let it drop, and it's going to watch how quickly it drops, going to watch how quickly it goes up, and it's going to start changing the PID values to go ahead and try to find an optimal one. So these are our values right now. I'm going to go ahead and just take a little screenshot here. We're just going to leave this here so we have it for reference. So these are our current values, and it's all over the place. So we're going to let this go, and while we're waiting for that to go, you guys can go ahead and put questions in the chat, and I will answer them. The other thing I wanted to show off, which is what I was printing here, and then I noticed the temperature was all over the place, is I made this little hanger here. If you guys notice, there's hats hanging behind me now. There's also a bunch up here. I whipped this up in Fusion really quick just to put it on the rail of the garage door tracks here. I don't know if you guys know, but this is I'm actually in a garage. We put up this wall behind me when I moved in here, and turned the garage that was attached to the house, turned one of the garage bays into an office out here for me. So, but yeah, so that's something to be printing. Just a nice little hook so I can hang my hats. But yeah, I want the temperature regulation to be nice and tight. So I totally forgot on this printer, I did have to run a PID tune on it. And when I refresh the firmware, it wipes out the EEPROM, which that's where your PID settings are stored. Now, you can put the PID settings into your firmware if you know what they are. And if we look here, you can see it's going and doing the start. So I sent the command here. It started, it heated up, heated up, heated up. And then we got up here, see it started shutting the heater off. We were at 0 and then back up. So it's keeping an eye on what the Hotend did based on different values. So you can see here, the min, the max, okay? And then there's a bias, there's a D. So it's playing with the settings right now to try to get it as accurate as possible. So it's going to do this for 10 cycles. So you can see it's playing with it now, and you can see it's varying how much power it's giving it. The 127 is 100%. Basically like 63, 64 would be half power. So you can see here it's playing with different settings to get the values. Oh, the bot's down? I thought I launched the bot. Hang on. I totally forgot to reload it when I rebooted. Hang on. It should be starting. Unless the chat bot's screwed up. Nope, there it goes. It's firing up. Give it a sec. I'm very sorry about the questions. So if you guys put questions in it, go ahead and put them back in. And it will pick them. So it should be good now. Let me open my questions file here. There we go. Let's try a test here. Should pick it up. Yep. All right. Yeah. So this is what I actually see. I don't know if you guys know this. So this is what I see when the bot picks up the question. Is doing the thing again. Is it my chat bot that is messing with this computer? I noticed once I started loading the chat bot, it is my fans are ramping up on my computer. What is going on here? Do I need an update for the chat bot? Why can't I have like a stream that goes normal? Is that too much to ask? Like, yeah, YouTube is complaining. I'm going to close the chat bot. Let's see if it goes away. No, it's still not happy. Are we nice and smooth again? Let me reload the chat bot and see. See if it was a chat bot. I also closed my other browser. I'm just wondering what's going on here because don't ask questions. Hang on, the bot's reloading. I'm sorry, guys. But at least we'll see a PID thing going, hopefully. So this is still running. You can see here it's giving us the values. It's trying different values. It's still got a couple more cycles to go. So what are we at here? Actually, it'll tell me on the screen. I think it'll tell me. Let me go look at it. Yeah, so we're at 8 of 10 right now. I think it's the chatbot that's screwing my computer up here. That's great. It's the chatbot. Let me see if there's a chatbot update. This is still working. It's screwed with my camera. Yeah, so it's a Streamlabs chatbot not playing nice, probably with Windows 11. All right, so anyways, the PID is finished. So you can see here, it tells you in the output it's finished. You can put the last KP, KI, and D constants below into configuration.h. So if I wanted to code these into my firmware, this would be what I would put in there. And if we look here, this is what we started with, was 13.7 on the KP. We're at 16.01. 0.085 or 0.85 on the KI, and we're at 0.99, and the KD is 55, and it went to 64.68. So hopefully now, if I go ahead and set this to the temperatures, it should go and get on temp and stay there smoothly, if that makes sense. So we're gonna go ahead and just home that. I was gonna print more brackets, but we'll see. Let's see if our PID is nice and smooth here. Yeah, so it's Streamlabs chatbot that is messing with this. So let's see. And it's kind of what we need for the stream, so that's great. Let's see. Let's see if we can update it. Maybe there's an update. The chatbot has a backup. So let's see. Is that where it's installed right now? D-work? Yes, it is. Okay. Let's see if it installing over it will fix anything. Oh my god. It's got to be it, because I opened everything else. Everything else is open that was open before. And it's fine. Although my task, god, why does Windows 11 suck so much? I don't want to do a clean install. Oh, am I gonna have to do a clean install to get it to actually like work correctly? Like, this is not that slow of a computer. Like, it really is not. It's older, don't get me wrong. It's older. I like to use my stuff till it dies, but I mean, like, I got an 8-core processor with 64 gigs of RAM. This should be able to handle what we're doing here, right? Like, something is eating my processor. What is sitting at 68%? That is insane. Why is this so slow? I don't get it. Unless it's the graphics drivers. You guys think it might be the graphics drivers? I'm not going to roll it back because I got to get Windows 11 working. That's the thing. I got to get it working. Microsoft is going to force this all down our throats at some point. Like, it just needs to happen. Like, I can't even see anything that's, like, taking up my CPU. Is it their antivirus? Is it the stupid... So, chatbot is using a lot of processor. There's no reason the chatbot should be using... What was it, a 20% something? What is going on here? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to check here. So if we look here, though, we're going to go back to the PID. Do you guys see how tight the regulation line is now versus what we were doing? This is the last print I did. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Hopefully it's running smooth enough for you guys to hear me. I'm going to leave the chatbot running. I'm going to update my video drivers because I think I don't need to reboot for those. Windows 10 and 11, you typically don't need to reboot. We're going to go ahead and start a print on there. And yeah, So if you guys are having weird temp fluctuations, it could be your board. But a PID tune can usually sort that out. Turn off the crypto mining. Who the hell mines crypto anymore? Like, that has not been profitable for a long time. Why is this sucking? Windows 11, you suck. So much. I think it's a 3070. It's either a 3070 or 3070 Ti. I can't remember. They're all the same driver anyways. I'm going to download this here. This file could be dangerous. Okay. This is an Intel motherboard with a NVIDIA graphics card. All right, we're gonna All right, check 1 2. Are we back? Things seem to be running smoother now. I also uninstalled Display Fusion. So we'll see. All right. Looks like it's running smooth. The chatbot's running. We're just going to run with it. Anyways, I will show you guys since some time has passed. Let's go and look at our temp graph here. So you can see here, we went from this bouncing around here to pretty close now. So I'll take it. We're within, what's that, like 1 degree C. So our target temp's 255 here. We're right around 1 degree. So I'll take that. So if you guys are getting a lot of bouncing on your hot end, do a PID tune. It's free. It's built into all of our firmware. So if you run it on your bed, I don't know why you would, but it's also available on your bed. But beds take a long time to tune. Your hot end would definitely benefit from doing a PID tune. So there we go. Now my print should come out a little cleaner because it's not jumping all over the place. So there we go. You can see there. It's printing away. It's printing me some more hooks. So I'm just running some old PET I had laying around for some more hooks to hang up all my hats. All right. Thank you for everybody who's stuck with us through this. I'm sorry about this really crappy start to the day. But all right. Good news is we have questions. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go ahead and pull these questions here. So I got my test question here. I'm going to remove that. And then the first one we're going to go into is from JDCCC26. He said, what do I need to add to the printer config for the pins to work for Clipper? It keeps giving me pins are used more than once. So it depends on what your board is. So like I'll give you an example for easy board. So it really depends because it depends on, and what I mean by that is it depends on what you have hooked up to the printer. So how many axes you have, what accessories you're running, that kind of stuff. So that all varies. So your config will be different from my config. But for the V2 board, I'll give you an example here. So this is an example configuration for our EasyBoard V2. This is just a basic Clipper config for EasyBoard V2. You know, all your Clipper configs will look similar. The difference will be like your pins and what you have configured. So at the top here, you got your MCU, which has the ID for your board. You would get this through the SSH terminal and then paste that in there. This is your printer.cfg file is what this is. You have your basic stuff here, all your kinematics, whether it's core XY, Cartesian delta, etc., velocities, accelerations. And then you start getting to the pin setup. So like for the X, we have our X setup here. So the step, direction, enable pin, what micro steps we have, the rotation distance, and what end stop pin goes with it. The little caret up, if memory serves correct, that's to enable a pull-up on the pin, which you want on end stops, on most end stops. And then the exclamation point is how they invert the pin logic. If you have 2209s or other UART controlled drivers like we do on our EasyBoard, you have your UART pin, so your RX in your TX pin so the processor can communicate with the driver, and then your current. So you should have your config should look very similar. So this is a baseline config with all the essentials, it'd be the word I would look for. So we got our stepper configs, then we run into the extruder here, and you can see here, Clipper also uses PID, so the PID tune we just did on Marlin. Clipper also supports PID control as well. So your example config should look similar to this. And if you look at our configs, and this is one of the reasons we have our own configs, is we have examples commented out here. So for example, here we have this. So if you uncommented this line, basically all these lines got rid of a little pound sign in front of them, that would enable the filament sensor on the default pin. If you have, our NeoPixels, again, you would just get rid of these little pound signs, and that would enable the NeoPixels on the NeoPixel header. And then we also have stuff down here for the display. So this is a good baseline example for Clipper. We also have that for the V1 too. So you got the older V1 board. You can also run Clipper on the V1 board. And it's the same story. Obviously, the pin numbers are going to be different, but this is a good example for either machine. So we've got other stuff in here as well. So if you want to look at this for examples, you can go to our EasyBoard Clipper stuff GitHub repo. It is on. It is also linked in our help center. So if you just search EasyBoard Clipper, you should get this. But I'll go ahead and paste that in the chat here. It looks like I was disconnected and reconnected. So, but there you go. Also, read their documentation here. So where is the, I know I have links to Clipper here. I think it just goes right to their main site. They do have, their documentation is kind of hard to read, and it's out of date in certain instances. So, let's see if they finally changed it. So, yeah, nobody's using Octopi anymore. You can't get Pi boards, so you can ignore this. But there are other options in here for configuration. So, for bed leveling, they have different configurations. Their documentation, aside from the initial installation, because people aren't using Pis these days because they're so expensive, they do have other helpful documentation in this, so go ahead and read through that. They also have a whole section here just for TMC drivers, like the motor current, that kind of stuff. Just helping you understand what it is. So the thing is, Clipper is a very complicated firmware. If you're not willing to put hours of time, and I'm not even joking when I say hours of time, if you're not willing to put hours of time into learning how it works and learning how to set it up, you're going to have a bad time, and your printer's probably not going to work. So, all right. Give me 1 second. My allergies are acting up today. All right. Next question we have here is Wesley Phillips. He said, due to the physical position of my bed probe, the margin on my mesh is large. Yes, that can happen depending on where it's mounted. He's getting consistently bad first layer adhesion near the edges. Advice, centralist probing, or redesign the touch mount maybe. So if you want to keep using the probe to take your readings, I would definitely recommend redesigning whatever mount you're using to put the probe closer to your nozzle. So the more offset you have, meaning the further away your sensor, and this goes for our sensors, BL touches, any kind of sensor, the less you're going to be able to probe, because your printer cannot move the print head, or the nozzle, I should say, out of bounds of the bed. So let's say it's mounted, on the right side. It's going to miss some of the left, because obviously it can't probe with the nozzle out of bounds. And most printers, when you're at the end stops, you don't have much travel in the negative direction, if any. So I would recommend redesigning the mount. One of the things we try to do when we're designing probe mounts, especially for our Easy ABL, is we will try to make them as close to the hot end as possible. Yeah, that would be my recommendation. The other thing too is you can start playing with what's called UBL, which is Unified Bed Leveling, which you can combine probe readings as well as some manual adjustments to see if that. So basically, you'd have the probe take the majority of the adjustments and take some other ones, but UBL is very involved. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't use it on any of my machines. The other thing you can do is turn off. Let me pull up VS Code here. There's an option that basically, I think it's the extrapolate beyond grid option, which it basically takes the edge readings and it will assume that if the last reading showed that the bed was going like this, so like if point here it's like slanting, it's going to assume that that slanting is going to continue to the edge of the bed and make its best guess. Now, in most cases that works fine. In other cases, it might give you a poor layer outside of that. So by default, extrapolate beyond grid is enabled in our firmware. So if you're using our Unified 2 firmware, you can go ahead and just comment this out, and then that will disable the extrapolate beyond grid. The other thing too is you can try changing your probe edge. You can try getting more probe points. You can play with these kind of settings here. But again, like let's say your offset is like, -50, and some of these mounts that are like larger mounts, they have large offsets. You're just not going to be able to probe there. So the ideal thing to do would be to move the probe, design a new mount, so it puts the probe closer to the nozzle so you can probe more of the bed. Or, like I said, also play with this setting here. Try disabling extrapolate beyond grid and see if you get a better result. So it may not be perfect, but it may be better than what you're used to. The other thing too is if you're getting in general a bed leveling result, like you go to print and it's higher on one side than the other, that is actually a gantry issue. Whereas your gantry is not level with the printer frame. So basically like one side could be higher than the other and it skews the probe readings, which then makes it not print correctly. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. Let's see. The next question is from Peter Anderson, and he said he just installed his Easy ABL on his Tina 2, and I just can't level the bed. It works on the X and Y, but the Z never goes near the bed unless I put my finger on the sensor. Then it moves up about 30 millimeters. It sounds like the probe logic is not set correctly. Now, I have not put the Easy ABL on a Tina 2 because that comes with a factory probe, and I believe the factory probe on that one has a different logic than our Easy ABL. So I wish it would be more helpful, but I just haven't put it on there because that printer has an ABL probe. I'm just pulling up the config here really quick to see what it looks like. But that's also a printer we're probably going to be discontinuing support for because it's not popular. Yeah, it's just not that great of a machine. I'm looking here to see, because we have the Tina 2 OEM. I'm looking to see how I have the logic set on this. Because that printer has a max Z end stop. I gotta probably look in my backend file here. Is the stream doing good after I updated my GPU drivers? Are we looking better now? Because my computer's running better. So I'm hoping that sorted it out. All right, so I'm looking here. Tina 2. I don't see anything special for the Tina 2. Yeah, I don't see anything special for it in terms of logic. So it's probably actually using our same logic as our other sensors. I'm looking through here right now. So we have the Tina 2 enable a stock sensor, Tina 2 OEM, that enables on the back end the Tina 2 OEM probe mount, which I'm not seeing that I did anything special for that logic. So that probe is the same logic, I believe. But again, I have not affixed that printer with an Easy ABL because it comes with a probe. So yeah, I would say it's probably doing something weird. I'm wondering if it's like the Ender 3S one where they have something there that's reversing the logic on the hardware level. And then using the, would that be the same line? I'm trying to wrap my head around the steps. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that wouldn't be working. I know it works with the stock sensor. So, camera image is fuzzy. That's probably YouTube. All right. So we got time for more questions here. I don't have anything. I don't think I have anything scheduled for after this. Let me double check my calendar here. So I can go over a little to compensate for the crappy startup. Yeah, I don't have anything after this, so we can go for a little bit longer. Otherwise, my plan was to go get the rest of the upgrades done for the SV06 Plus. So, did you guys see we posted the video? I did a full edited video of the, what's the word I'm looking for? Of the SV06 fan duct upgrades. So, actually, since it's kind of slow in the chat today, we aren't even at the hour mark, even with the, delays. Let's plug this in here. Yeah, I'd probably just use the probe itself to probe. Instead of, or to home Z. Let's see. I need to just find a regular USB cable. Why are you beeping at me? Oh, power loss recovery. Oh, because there's an SD card in here. All right, well, let's update the firmware on this. I'm gonna see what this does. We're gonna play with things. But yeah, I don't know if you guys saw, we are discontinuing the 1284p firmwares. So the ANET Melzy boards, the Creality Melzy boards, the Anycubic Melzy boards, the Wanhouse, those will not be getting any more updates just because they're becoming too much of a pain to like keep on top of. The processors are slow, the memory's limited. It's not worth it for us to keep doing stuff. So we're gonna leave the existing packages will still be up there, so the pages will still be out there. They'll just be on the old version. So, yeah, so we're not going to delete them, but they just will not be getting any updates. So, let's see. I'm making a file folder here. Another new board. Yeah, Thomas. You mean the free runs? The one where, because it I don't know, it diarrhea runs out of it. I don't know. This one right here. I've had this on my desk for about a month. I am going to do firmware for it. I don't know if we'll replace the 427, but I have it. It's right here. Somebody got a little happy with the thermal goop, but yeah, it's just a 427 with UART control, which I'm not going to complain about having UART control. But in terms of how well it runs, I have not put this in a printer. My extent to it was I got this and I opened it up and I looked at it, and I was planning on doing firmware. Just like we do with the other Creality boards for it. And this would be a paid firmware since it's an aftermarket board. Their stock firmware is a mess. I downloaded it and tried to compile it, and it threw a bunch of errors, so I never went back to it. But I have the pins file, which is the main thing we need. So expecting Creality software to actually work out of the box is asking a lot. Let's just be honest here. All right, I'm going to see, basically what we're going to do is I'm going to look at the questions, and while we're doing that, I'm going to mess with the Tina 2 here, because I want to give this to my mom, because it'd be a nice little small printer for her to mess with. Casey's asking, any recommendations to alternative to the palm wheels, something a little bit more durable in terms of how long they last before needing slight adjustments. So we used to carry polycarbonate ones, but you're going to pay $5 to $6 per wheel. So we don't carry them anymore because people were not willing to pay that much, and they sat on the shelves taking up space. So those are nice, but they're very expensive. In my opinion, I don't think they're worth the extra cost, because basically once your stock wheels, they're actually like a Delrin type material. Once they break in, they don't really wear down that much past the initial break-in period. So, and you know, you're paying like a couple bucks, like $1 or $2 a wheel for the standard ones versus $5 to $6 for polycarbonate. I don't think it's really worth it, to be completely honest. You know, try them out. I think Open Build sells them. If anybody knows anywhere that sells them, we used to. Like, this was probably 4 or 5 years ago, but I ended up having to sell them for below cost because nobody was willing to pay $4 to $5 a wheel for really good wheels. So I will say they did hold up. They were on my CR10 for a number of years with a lot of time, and they didn't wear down as much as the standard ones. But again, the cost. People typically are pretty cheap and don't want to spend extra money, especially these days with how, you know, absolutely dog shit the economy is doing. Roberto is asking, if I do a parts fan upgrade to a 5015 fan on my SV06, is there anything cooling wise I need to adjust in slicer settings? So you might, but I think, well, if you're doing PLA, I would just run it still at 100%. The upgraded cooling kit that we carry is really, really good. It's on our Plus now, which I use for the video. It's on our SV06. It improved the print quality dramatically. But for stuff like PETG and for stuff like PETG and ABS, you're going to want to lower it down. Typically on ABS, I'll run like a 30 to 40% fan speed. On PETG, I'll run like 20 to 30. You can play with it. But PLA, you'll be fine running it fully open, you know, at 100% speed. I see you guys typing commands in there for the lights. You got to think simple colors like just blue, and it works. You can't be doing these crazy colors. So, all right. I'm going to look for questions. So you guys can go ahead and do questions. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the firmware for the Tina 2. And we're going to go ahead and update it here. I got to put Teams in Do Not Disturb. My status, Do Not Disturb. There we go. All right. Okay. So, Marlin, configuration H. I have a Tina 2, and I'm going to just make sure it still works with the, just the regular stock settings. Now, let's see if my PIO is going to auto-detect. So, that's probably the printer there. COM3. Oh, that's another thing. Do you see what this just did here? Error. It's having trouble connecting to the URL here. So if you guys are getting weird issues with Platform.io, look at the terminal here and see, because sometimes there could just be web outages that are affecting it from downloading the packages you need. It will try. You can see here looking for another mirror, and then it found it. But yeah, just be aware of that, because I feel like a lot of people's issues are because they're having connectivity problems. Hey, look at that. It auto-detected the port. That's a first. They must have improved that, because it never auto-detected correctly on my computer. I always had to manually specify it. Oh, but now we're getting a timeout. It just rebooted. I'm going to try manually specifying the port. So we know it's on COM3. It's a 2560. Let's stop it. I'm going to unplug and replug it. And this is just the regular Tina 2. Why is this going doo-doo when I move this? Okay. I'm wondering if that cable was wonky. Okay, so there we go. I manually specified and it worked. Yeah, see, the auto detect, I've not had good success with the auto detect, which is why we have the directions to actually set the INI file directly, like I just did. So you can see here, COM port setting. It's in the AVR file, which is what I opened up. So it's reading. So it's updating the firmware. We're going to double check and make sure all this still works on this latest build. Again, many printers are not using these 8-bit boards anymore, so you know, it's kind of like, how long do we keep dealing with them type of thing. She's a little dusty. We're going to dust her off. And our new firmware auto resets the EEPROM. So, one last thing for me to remember. All right, so at home to XYZ. Oh, come on. Everything is in the way. Come on, all right. Let's see what she does. I'm gonna auto home again. So it should go up, and then it should come back down. Because there's a max end stop on these. I'm gonna do the M48 test here. Now, I am still using the ZN stop, the max ZN stop to home. Now, we can use the probe to home, so I'm going to change that in a sec. So last time I checked, these stock little sensors were decent. Yeah, 0.003, that's plenty accurate. It is just an inductive probe, so I would expect it to be decent. All right, let's see. Motion, we're going to do level bed. Let's see if the offsets are good. So it should auto home. I don't know why they have it home to max, to be completely honest. Let's see if there's any questions in chat. It looks like it's here. So Thomas Patry says, what 3D printed item is your favorite thing that you printed over the years? Why? I really like practical stuff. Like, you know, I don't know, like the little hat mounts I make here. You know, or like Google Home mounts, outlet covers, that kind of stuff. Those are probably my easiest ones. Okay, so that worked. I'm going to change the firmware here to use the what's it called? To use the ABL or stock sensor to home Z. I'm going to double check the offsets here. These should be, I pulled this from their source code. So 28, yeah, 28 to the right. That sounds correct. Oh, and I have the probe edge set really small here. Oh yeah, because there's a tiny little printer. Did I anger this by moving it? Come on. I wonder if the USB cable I'm using is janky. Because it took me a second there to actually get it. Justin Dybell is asking, how long should the umbilical cord on Ender 3 Pro be? However long is needed to let the head travel from left to right without pulling on it. I do not know how long that is. Chip clips? Oh yeah, I have chip clips. I actually have quite a few chip clips. All right, let's see. It's verifying. So I enabled the Easy ABL Home Z option, so it shouldn't go up to the top. It should just home like you guys are used to seeing on a printer. Yep. Okay, so that works. Yeah, so it's all functioning correctly, as intended. I just realized my bed magnet is not centered on here. I thought I saw it skip a step there. Maybe I shouldn't mess with it while it's running. All right. Yeah, I mean, as far as I can tell, it's working. I'm trying to remember how they have this sensor hooked up. I think it goes to a breakout board on the back. Yeah, it does. And that goes to the ribbon cable. Yeah, this one I would say just run the stock sensor, honestly, because it's like, you could put an easy ABL on here, but it's got a stock sensor, and like, I don't feel like it's worth messing with. Do you guys know what I mean? The only downside to the stock sensor is you have to use a metal bed. The problem is interfacing with the sensor itself. So, yeah, I mean, I would say you're probably looking at how this is connected. The I/O pin, I'm assuming they're going right from the I/O pin to the sensor with no isolation, which is okay, because this is probably running off of 5 volts. Most of these little cheap inductive sensors run off 5 volts and not 12, whereas ours run off 12 and 24. So if you guys see this hole here, that's your sensor connection cable. So, and then typically the brown is your positive, your blue is your negative, and the black is your signal on most sensors of these types. So I can actually check that. So basically, if you're replacing the EasyABL, we're replacing this with the EasyABL, you'd probably go across these 2 pins here. Ignoring the brown one, you'd probably go across these first 2 pins here. Let me probe this out and see what we get. Oh, you had issues with your sensor. Okay. Well, fair enough. I guess I just got lucky that the 2 I have, they actually worked halfway decent. And I mean that like they worked accurate enough. Now, longevity-wise, are they going to be as, reliable as ours? I don't know. But all right, let's see what we got here. So, oh wow. They're running this on 12 volts. Holy crap, with no isolation. That's a little ballsy. Unless they have an isolator on the control board. I want to see what it reads when it probes. It should pull it down. Okay, so it is pulling it down. Is it pulling it down to ground, though? I'm moving the sensor down so it triggers. Yeah, so it's pulling it down to ground. So you can see there, when the sensor's triggered, it's pulling it down to like 0.6 volts. That's really surprising that they're running that right off of 12. Typically, you don't want to do that because you can run too much voltage into the pin. To the ZN stop. Do they have a ZN stop port on this board? It's been a bit since I looked at this. They do have end stop ports up here. There's Wyman. I'm trying to see. There's Z Max. Right, we have the Z Max port. But I think that Z Min port is on the, excuse me. I'm just looking here. Z, is that the Z? Yeah, there's a Z port here. Oh, did you hook up to the Z Max here? This guy here? Is that what you're talking about? Did I just figure out why it's not working? Did you hook up to this port? The Z Max port? Because I'm pretty sure that's the Z Max port, which you can absolutely use that. It's at the top. Yeah, that's okay. So there needs to be a firmware change then for that to work. Yeah, that's why it's not working. So in the firmware, let's see. Because I was like, it should just work. Now here's the thing: that other I/O pin is probably tied. The one on the sensor cable, where I was talking about the black and the yeah. So all right. We look on here in the back, do you see on the Hall header there? Do you see that there, the Hall header? Do you see how it says S minus and plus? For no firmware changes, you could go off of that. But I could code something in to run that off of the Z Max. And then it would force it to use the ABL to home it. That's why it's not working. So it should really be hooked up to this breakout board here for the stock firmware setup. So across these two pins here. If that makes sense. Does that make sense now? Yeah, so the firmware is assuming it's going to be on that Hall sensor header, which is basically your Z Min. However, I'll just code it in right now. Let's see. Z probe alternate wiring. Actually, I can knock this out real quick. Here, I'll do it right now. Fuck it, we'll do it live. You want to use the Z Max and stop port to connect your EasyABL instead of the Hall header. Comment the below line. And we'll call this, I don't know, define Tina 2 EasyABL ZMax. How's that? Does that make sense? Is that simple enough? So what I need to do now is this will also auto-enable this. So the use EasyABL Home Z. This will also enable the option for homing. So basically I want it so if you would have this enabled, it will go ahead and define that for you. So you don't have to. It's one less thing. All right, so we want here if enabled it'll auto enable that. So all right, now what I need to do is actually make the pin file changes. So if we go here, this is that Weedo board, so it's probably either in ramps. It's probably in ramps. Is it Weedo something? Or is it in another one? I thought it was in, it's a 2560 board, so it should be in ramps, but what's the other one it could be in? Mega? Is it under Mega? It's under Mega. All right, here. All right, so I'm trying to think of how we do this. Because the Z min pin here is 18. The Z max pin is 19. So the easiest way would be to just have if enabled Z max. We're just going to flip these, right? Else We're going to leave it alone. So, and this will be 19, and this will be 18. We're just going to flip those. So let's see if that works. And I can test that just by pressing the button switch. Like up top here. Where's the little bugger? Up top here. Yeah. Yep, I can hit that switch. All right, so let's see if this works. And we'll go ahead and get these changes merged in. And yeah. All right. Are we uploading? We're uploading. All right, we'll test it in a sec here. So we're going to copy this to the right. We want this commented out by default. We're going to copy this over here. I'll throw a little note here. Enable UZABL home Z when using ZMax. And then we're going to want to go ahead and just check the... I have to merge the files up here. Let's go ahead and bump the version number. And then we're going to merge this into our main firmware here. There we go, we're compiling. All right, so we should have our backend file, change the version number. We always bump it when we do changes. And we need to edit these here. And I'm going to double check here. No, it's not showing up the exe. Interface. So we can test to make sure it's actually using that. Once it's done flashing, I'll be able to connect over the serial. We can only have one thing connected to the serial at a time. All right. We're going to connect. And if that change worked when I press the ZMax button, if I can find it, we should get a state change. So M119. So Zmin, well, so it should be Zmin. See that? So I'm not pressing it showing trigger. That's correct. Pressing it showing open. So if I hook an EasyABL up to there, it'll work. And then we can just ignore Zmax because Zmax isn't doing anything. The stock sensor is hooked up to Zmax, so I'm assuming if I put the sensor on the bed, it's still reading that. So I did flip the pins, so I've moved the sensor up, down, up, down. All right, so we flipped the pins. All right, so that should work. I'm gonna go ahead and push that up to our GitHub page. So add Zmax for Tina 2. And that's on our GitHub. So if you go to our testing branch, that's up there right now. All right. I'm trying to think if I need to... I should probably, actually, one last thing I'm going to do. I'm going to have it so if this is enabled... We're only going to define this if it's disabled. Because we don't need to have that other pin there doing stuff. Does that make sense? All right, so let's go ahead and double check our configs here. So I'm going to have to recompare the... There we go. And I'll just patch that real quick. Boom, boom. And there we go. So I'll probably do a firmware update this weekend. So that'll go out. But if you guys want to see like what stuff we're doing, the testing branch is where I do all my stuff. So you go on our GitHub, you go to Unified Firmware here, Unified Firmware, you go select instead of release 2.1.x testing. This is where all the code is. So if you downloaded, let's say you want to use what I just did, you would download the firmware package. There is a guide on our website about how to manually assemble it, but basically how we have it split up is there's the board configs here. So you would take the files for the Tina 2 anyways, you go in this, you put all these files into the firmware folder that is in the level here. So that's how it works. So I have scripts here that assemble all these zip files when we do releases. So why is this showing 2.70? I am so confused. Where did I get 2.70 from? I thought we were on 269A. I am very confused here. Did I not bump the version number in the last release? Configuration backend 2690A. I must have forgot to bump the version number. Son of a beach. God damn it. All right, so we're on technically 2.71. Because I forgot. God damn it. All right. I'm usually pretty good at bumping the version number. I have not forgotten that in a while. So this is technically, we're going to fix that now before I forget. This is technically 2.71. Man, I feel dumb. I guess I'll push that update a little sooner than I thought just to fix this. So, fix version number. So the 2.7 that says 2.69A, that is actually 2.7. Whatever. It is what it is. I can't get everything perfect every single time. All right. There we go. There's our little segue. I'm actually going to double check here. Since it always thinks it's triggered, it should just try to home and then just keep going. It should go up twice. Yep. So if I override it here. Yep. That pin's working. So that'll work with the easy ABL then. That makes sense why yours was not working, because it was connected to the wrong header. But there we go. All fixed. Oh, man. Oh, sorry, guys. All right. Let's answer quick questions here, and then we're going to get going. All right. So, BW Electronics said he created a file in Tinkercad that is slicing Cura. Oh, that slicing Cura drops part of it. Bruce's slicer, it's fine. I download a file with printables. It does the same thing. Enter 3v2. Any idea? I assume Cura's saying. So, the person you download the file from did not properly export it. That's the thing. Also, your file in Tinkercad is probably not. I believe the term is manifold. I'm not a 3D designer. I know broken STL files when I see them, but basically, your slicer's thinking it's two separate parts. Prusa's slicer just kind of heals it automatically. Simplify 3D does the same exact thing. You could run the file through a repair in Fusion. You could also do it in a mesh mixer and remesh it, which is kind of clunky. There used to be a really nice service called NetFab, but they shut that down. You can actually repair files in Fusion. So, yeah, the issue is like the file is not properly made. That's why it's dropping it. But Prusa Slicer does handle those files quite gracefully. So. All right, Apula, I have not started printing the Nerf Blaster parts yet. I have to figure out what filament I want to do them in, and I've been trying to get videos done. Yeah, Nemo says, yeah, Prusa tells you, hey, I fixed that for you. Yeah, it does. JT says, would and should I have my Ender 3 microSWITch plated Hotend max temp to 400 set to with the easy board as the main board? Absolutely not. That depends on your thermistor. If you have a thermistor that'll handle 400C, I believe the microSWITches will handle that. Don't quote me on it. Go look at their official manual. I know they'll handle like 300 plus, but I don't know if they'll get up to 400. When you start getting into those 400 temp ranges, I would definitely recommend looking at Slice Engineering's hot ends. Like, those are designed for high temp stuff. They're not cheap, but they are designed for the higher temp stuff, and they handle it. I have one on my 5 Plus here. I got to put that printer back together because the fan died on it. But yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys staying with me. I'm sorry this stream was such a chaotic mess. We are going to do a little giveaway here. I'm going to go ahead and open up the giveaway here. I'm going to reset that. And we're going to be doing a $25 gift card instead of $20. So how's that? Let's see. We're going to have the keyword be Win 11 sucks. There we go. So there you go. That's how you enter. And while we're waiting for that, I'm going to give the doggos their end of stream snacky. Do you see who's paying attention? Do you guys notice in the corner there who's paying attention to when the stream is wrapping up? The red one is passed out. All right. And here come the dummies. The big dummies. The big dummies. That's you guys. You guys are the big dummies. Yeah. What? We're going to give you guys each 2 snackies today. 2 snackies. Can we sit? Can I get a... Oh, no, I did not ask you. Speak. Comment. Come here. Up. Comment. Up. Come on. Up. No. Paw. Sit. Good boy. Remo, can we sit? Shake. Good boy. Come on. Up. Come on. Up. Come on. Come on. Up. Remo. Up. Come on. Good boy. He's like, give me the snacks, Dad. All right, we got 30 seconds remaining. Comment's taking his time eating his. Hopefully, I think our parts for our go-karts came in today, so hopefully I can get some work done on mine. I just got to mount new tires to wheels and paint them. And then I think we're waiting on stuff for Chris's. I think Bruce is coming by to give us a hand because he's refurbishing that cart and then Chris is buying it. So, comment. Do you want another one? Come on. Come here. Remo, you fat ass. Go away. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Up. Up. Good boy. Are you a good boy? Come here. Come here. Come on. Can you crawl my lap? No? Come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, you're so gentle. Such a gentle boy. He's like, I'm going over here before Remo steals it. So, all right. Add a turbo? I want to. How do you turbo something with a carb? I feel like that's a pain in the ass. I know it's possible. It's just a pain in the ass. And then there's no oil pump on these, so I'd have to like fashion up an oil pump, like an electric one. We'll figure it out. I got an extra 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton block sitting here that I'm going to mess with. So, all right. We have not that many entries here, but we're going to go ahead and pick a winner right about now. It's thinking. It's thinking. Up. Joseph won. Joseph Medved. Wait, did Remo steal? Did you steal his? Wait. Hold up. Did Remo seriously take his snack? Did you take your brother's snack? So, Joseph, what you need to do is send an email to streams@th3dstudio.com with just like a screenshot of like, you know, just like click your little Google account and show that. And then we'll send you the gift card. Comment, did your big brother steal your food? Yo, you go away, you fat ass. Remo, go lay down. Go lay down. Comment, come here. Comment, come here. Come here. Good boy. Stay right here so he doesn't steal it from you. Don't you dare. Don't do it. Don't do it. He's thinking about it. Don't do it. Come here. Remo, come here. Come on. Up. Up. Here. We're going to hold you so you can't eat your brother's toy or your brother's food. How's that? All right, guys. Well, oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. When he starts wiggling, I'm always afraid. I'm always afraid that he's going to nail me in the face. All right. Anyways, thank you guys for sticking around. Hopefully my computer will play nice now that the drivers are updated. I'm forcing myself to go to Windows 11. I got dog hair in my mouth. Because it's inevitable, right? Microsoft is just going to pull it out from under us. But, yeah, hopefully it plays nice. So, anyways, thank you everybody for watching. And as always, happy printing. I will see you guys on the next stream.